Today on Switch to Linux, we are going to talk about the AI fatigue that Windows users have and how it's getting worse, and just looking at a culmination of different articles and some of these things we've talked about, at least touched on in the past. But today I want to bring them kind of all together just to kind of make a point that Windows' really big problem right now isn't that it's Windows, it isn't even that it's data collection anymore, it's the fact that they're cramming AI in every corner of their operating system. So we're going to have a look at the recent articles to talk about this trend. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. If you like this type of content, leave us a like and a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. Of course, here on Windows Wednesday, we do talk about why I switched to Linux. And of course, it all started with all of the data collection that you could not disable, and just Windows constantly making this internet connected and constant siphon of your data to its own servers. Today, it really is a completely different trend, as a couple of these articles that we're going to have a look at here really illustrates that Microsoft has really been out of touch with consumers for a long time. Constant issues, constant problems, constantly chasing tech fads while neglecting the people that have made the operating system as big as it is. And it begs the question, what can be done, what should be done, other than, everybody just abandon Windows and all switch to Linux. That just may not work for everybody. There is a possible way. I mean, hey, Windows could do some things that are incredibly positive. I don't think they will, because, it's counter to what they want to be done. But let's go ahead and talk about these. And it kind of starts with this article here. A new report details how Microsoft has cut some internal goals for its AI salespeople. Well, because nobody wants to use the weak products. Now, this is not tying directly into the Copilot that is being crammed in every corner of the operating system, but it is kind of a wider problem that there is a giant AI arms race going on, and even having control over OpenAI, Microsoft is still falling behind on other models. You have the Google's Gemini model is really racing ahead right now and really kind of winning that AI battle, and people are just not wanting to buy or invest in Microsoft's AI technologies. Having a look at these guys over here. Here's the usage charts. So ChatGPT, excluding Copilot, is up a little bit. Microsoft Copilot up just a little bit. This is interesting, being is that it is forced on everybody. And people aren't using it. Like, when it is the one thing pre-installed and constantly getting in your way, like Clippy, only an insane, evil, dystopian, psychopathic version of Clippy comes out, how may I help you today? In every corner of the operating system, and its growth is the slowest of them all. That's a problem. Google Gemini's up 12, Perplexity's up only 4. That's maybe good news that they're also on the bottom of the list. Perplexity's a crazy company. Claude AI, we have Grok is going up, and we have DeepSeek is also going up, just kind of behind Claude and Gemini. And so Microsoft's Copilot, which is really the one tied to that we're really looking at here, is the slowest. And ChatGPT as a standalone, which is still OpenAI, not Microsoft, they just have some close ties. But the problem is that all of the analytics and everything that's going on here, Microsoft has a serious problem with AI. But the reality is, people are getting fatigued with it. In fact, the reason they're getting so fatigued with it right now is because Microsoft is too busy following the AI hype that major design issues are here. There was a few articles a couple weeks ago that Microsoft actually reported that nearly every core feature of the operating system is effectively broken in some way. They had to be forced to admit that. Why? Because they're focusing everything on cramming AI into every corner, and the problem is nobody has asked for it, which we're going to get to here. But this article this article here looks at some of the design issues. In this place here, this group came up, the independent developer came up with a Fluent flyout, which adds nice media controls into Windows and in a way that's really nice. And here's maybe another small problem. You can download the limited version from the store. You can pay for the full pro version from the store, or you can just download the whole pro version from GitHub and install it manually. It's kind of like LibreOffice. You can actually buy LibreOffice from the Microsoft Store, or you can go to the LibreOffice's home website and download it. Okay, whatever. So it's $2.96 for premium if you want the premium from the store, or you just, go to GitHub and download it to get all the premium features. And so you have that, but the problem here, and what these guys are make the argument here, what Zach Bowden wrote this article says, is that when independent developers are solving your UI problems because you're not going to touch it, that really is a recipe for disaster. And in reality, this is true. This is something we have to think about because we see this a lot. We saw this back as far as Windows 8, where everybody hated that giant full screen tiles start menu that they had. And it was up to third-party developers to come up with solutions to restore your start menu. Well, call me crazy. I actually do not want to rely on my main core operating system. I don't want to rely on third-party developers to fix the things that the distributor of the operating system should have done themselves, which is kind of why I have a fundamental problem with GNOME here in Linux also, because it's so limited in what it can do that it's up to these third parties to create a patchwork of extensions to get core functionalities that should be in the operating system to begin with. And so, this isn't pure Windows hate. We're going to throw a little bit of GNOME hate in there as well. I just hate little guys in pointy hats, I guess. I don't know. But they are really talking a whole lot about a number of different issues that are all taking a back seat to cramming AI into every corner of the operating system. Now, we did talk about this article. Well, part of this article here came up when we talked about the Dell sales call with them saying, hey, look at this opportunity. There's 1 billion PCs not running Windows. Again, I mentioned in that video, yeah, that guy is completely out of touch. There's 1 billion computers not running Windows because they don't want Windows 11. Okay. They're still on Windows 10 because they have gotten past the full screen nag screens to update. They've gotten through all the dystopian warnings to throw away your perfectly good computer because Windows 11 is so much better with the AI crammed in every corner that you never asked for. Of course, that guy's sitting there going, yeah, look at this opportunity. It's kind of like that old salesman trope you hear. Oh, I can sell you anything. Yeah, you be that pushy towards me, you're going to find yourself banging your head against a wall because I'm going to make your life really difficult. It's like I told you no once, go the hell away. Really, go the hell away. I am annoyed when you consistently pester me with what you want. In fact, I have this massive block list on my email. Every person that contacts me to get me to promote their product on my channel, I send to a spam folder and they get perpetually blocked and they can never email me again. So if anybody's out there like, oh, I watched your amazing videos and they're totally amazing, I don't take sponsors. I'm not going to help you sell your crap. You find a way to sell your crap. All right. Now, if you're a Linux distribution, yeah, I'll listen to you if you have something else reasonable to say. But if it's like, oh, I have a great product to sell you, you get added to my block list. I have a massive list of things. I have whole URLs that get blocked. I have keywords that get blocked. I have all sorts of stuff because I am not going to help you sell your crap. I don't know how I got off of this tangent. Maybe it's because of the out-of-touch Dell guy going, look at this, 1 billion computers not running Windows 11. Look at this opportunity. A fool, they're not running Windows 11 because they don't want to. All right. But Forbes just did a report on this a couple days ago, and in their report, they really talked about this is going to be a major security bubble because while most computers have the capability of running the free extended reports, at least for one more year, next October, which is less than a year from now, in 10 months, we are right back up against another wall. Microsoft has so far said they're not extending this support any further for basic computers without paying a lot of money for it, except academic institutions. I think it's up to, what, $2 now per computer. But are those people all of a sudden going to be throwing away their computers, especially since the price of computers is expected to skyrocket because the AI data centers is causing an increase in cost of every single form of computer part? Are people going to be happy to throw away their perfectly good Windows 10 computers to buy a $4,000 piece of garbage? Probably not. So we're going to have a whole lot of insecure Windows 10 computers on the networks. It's going to cause a security crisis. And I think Forbes is right about that in their article that they did a couple days ago. There's some talk about the Dell sales call there, and then core users hover. Let's see, appalled at the notion. Let's see, whatever. Let's do that. Basically, a lot of people in the use case here is this is in response to Pavan Davlarari. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. He is the Windows president. Then he announced, and we did the video on this, that he wants Windows to be a full agentic AI, and then everybody's like, nobody wants this crap. You are driving people to Mac and Linux. Stop the nonsense. No one wants this. Maybe you should pay attention to the unanimously negative replies here and adjust your goals accordingly. No, but he's a corporatist. He doesn't do that. It's kind of like when WordPress forced the Gutenberg block editor on everybody. You know, that thing had ratings so bad, and they went ahead and made it a core feature anyway. And then you'd see even the people giving the most generous review of the Gutenberg block editor for WordPress going, this just isn't for me. It'd probably be great for bloggers. And then you see their comments from the bloggers that are trying to be generous going, this isn't for me, but it's probably great for the people who need a website. Like, no, nobody wants this crap. In fact, one of the number one WordPress plugins is a plugin to get rid of the block editor. But WordPress didn't care. They took all of this negative feedback and they just didn't care. And then people just kept using it. I think a lot of the WordPress installs are either installing that, or in my case, with the customers I have that still want WordPress, all of my themes actually remove the block editor from the posts and from the widgets and all that kind of stuff. Really easy to do. You don't need plugins for that. In fact, the plugin probably produces a security vulnerability. But if you actually know how to program WordPress websites, which most people trying to sell you one don't, you can actually solve that problem with a few lines in your functions file, easy. But they don't care, because this is not about pleasing the customer. This is about their bottom line in the direction they want to go. And these people are so narcissistic and psychopathic, they will not respond to people's responses. They're just like, well, everyone in the world is wrong. We're going this direction. What in the world is wrong with you, psychopath? Because all of these comments are saying this. And it brings me to that point, just to jump the gun here a little bit. Windows could very easily turn itself into a great operating system again by having a version with no AI at all, and then having a version stuffed cram-packed with AI. Because the vast majority of people do not want this. In fact, so bad, PC World had an article in September. Are you sick of AI in your Windows 11? Here's how to get rid of it. Are you ready for a book? Here's how to get rid of all of the AI crammed into Windows 11. And this was only in September before they added a bunch more. Yeah, it's like you got to go into every application. Here's replacing your key. Go to settings, personalization, text input. Click customize key for an AI-free experience. Select search. The key will open up for the search and the experience in the start menu. You can select custom. Windows will only let you choose AI apps or customs, whatever. So you basically got to do some key management, and then you got to remove it from the system tray, utilizing a different series of functions over here. Here, Control, Shift, Escape, and the startup apps in the left pane. You'll find both Copilot, Microsoft 365. Right-click one or both and disable to turn these guys off. So you got to shut them down over there. Oh, you got to delete the options from the File Explorer over here. Here's the Ask Copilot option. If you'd rather keep Copilot installed but get rid of the option, there's a registry hack for it. Stop seeing it in Microsoft Office. You got to go in and do the file and options. You can, of course, still downgrade your Microsoft 365 plan to one without AI. They actually got in trouble for this and are now, I think, making a non-AI version available, at least if you've had it before. They want you all on it, but, you're going to have to hide it in Notepad, verify that Windows Recall is disabled, turn off the Do It Turn off the click to do shortcut, Windows Q, Windows key plus Q, and then you get into your settings and privacy security, click to do, and turn this off. You got to turn off the Windows Studio effects, ditch the AI features in your web browser. Here's Google Chrome, Edge, Firefox, get rid of AI and Google search. Yeah, and then using AI should be your choice. Yes. Fortunately, if you're like XDA developers here, reports on a new script that came out just a couple of days ago, I guess, or at least they wrote about it a couple days ago, or 10 hours ago, I guess. That here is now a script that will get rid of, allegedly, all of the AI, and they actually added something to prevent the AI from being added in future updates. That's good. It's called Windows Remove AI. I can't vouch for it. It's available over on GitHub, and it will disable several registry keys, prevent reinstallation of packages, disable Copilot policies, remove AI packages, remove recall optional features, remove AI packages. It's funny, recall optional features. Oh yeah, well, guess what we call the recall permanent features, I guess. Remove the AI files, hide AI components, disable rewrite AI features in Notepad, and remove recall tasks. How wonderful. There's a whole video about using that if you are interested. And so, if you want to get rid of the AI in Windows, you can just do this. Again, we're back to this issue. Why are third-party developers solving a problem that Microsoft itself should be able to solve? In reality, what is going on? And then we kind of end with the last article here. It was a wonderful opinion piece. And this one here is from Make Use Of. Microsoft's AI obsession is scaring me. This was an excellent piece. You should look this one up here 2 days ago. And he says, there was a time when I opened Windows and felt in control. Now, I feel like I'm living in Microsoft experiment lab. Even after 4 years after launch, Windows 11 still feels like a work in progress. So first is the AI takeover nobody asked for. This is like, where's Waldo, right? Notepad. Ooh, there's Copilot. Look at that. Here's, what is this? Is this file search? Where's AI in this one? There's AI on this picture somewhere. I can't see it. Anyway, well, there's AI there somewhere. Oh, here you go. There's AI. Whoop, look at that. Whoop, look at that. There's AI in your Notepad, your Paint. Is this Paint? Yeah, it's Paint. Here's draft it with Copilot. Hey, explain like I'm 5. I'm sorry, this is not a court case over a gay guy with AIDS. I mean, what do you want? Explain to me like I'm 3. You guys ever see Philadelphia? Great movie. I enjoyed that movie. That's a good one. Let's see, recall watching everything you do on your computer, and the latest push for agentic AI that runs in the background all the time is just a few examples of how deep AI integration is running in Windows. I don't have a gripe with AI, this author says. If done right, it can be a great tool to make life easy. But your PC watching everything you do and taking actions autonomously, even when you're not looking, that raises some concerns. So they're talking about the genuine problem with agentic AI. In order to act on your behalf, agentic AI needs access to a ton of work. Now, they say, well, we secure this by making sure every agent has its own user file. The problem is you still have to grant it permissions. Even though it has its own user file, you still have to grant it permissions. And then they also, we talked about this one, we talked about how Microsoft itself warned that turning on the agentic features could produce problems with prompt injection spam and scams. So, utilizing prompt injection, it's very possible for hackers to literally steal every bit of data you have given access to AI on. So the author discusses that a little bit there. And this is kind of, I think, the section where she gets into that. I think it's a she. Nope, it's a he. I'm sorry. Where this person gets into that. So because it's a privacy nightmare, of course, Windows is already a privacy nightmare, especially since it's trying to automatically send all of your files up to OneDrive. But now it's prompting you constantly to give access to agentic AI to perform simple tasks, which are then open to the prompt ejections. And then he kind of ends the article here talking about the OS itself is falling apart. Broken core components, performance issues, laundry list of user complaints. Why? Because Microsoft is spending all of this time cramming AI into every corner that nobody actually wants. Now, if Microsoft actually listened, they could have a good operating system. It's very possible to have a very easy, user-friendly version of Windows that doesn't require automatic encryption of your drive and doesn't require an online account. It's possible to do all this kind of stuff. In fact, Microsoft is putting in more effort to block people from doing that than they are anything else. All right. And so if Microsoft just let people direct from factory choose, I want an online-based computer with AI. I want a AI-based computer with no online account. I want an AI-based computer with online account. Very simple on the onboarding experience. And in reality, that's easy to do, but they're taking extra steps, investing extra manpower to block people from being able to do that. I submit that the reason they're doing that is because with the way they're trying to push everybody, they can perfectly authenticate every instantaneous user of Windows at the time they're using their computer, which is really good for their data collection and really good for their backdoor deals with governments. That's my opinion. That's what I think is going on here. Now, of course, I did the video here, was it last week, talking about the onboarding experience between Windows and Linux Mint. And this was Linux Mint Debian Edition, which you can install as an OEM. Very easy. Download the distribution, install it as an OEM, send that to whoever it wants their new Linux computer, and they turn it on. You can even set this thing up without an internet connection. It doesn't pest you for online accounts. It doesn't give you all sorts of weird suggestions. It doesn't send telemetry data back to the company. It just sits there waiting for you to provide user input. Compared to Windows, and we walk through somebody else's onboarding experience with Windows, with everything that Windows suggests, and he said, well, it's faster if you do that, but it also requires you to have a constant internet connection and passkeys instead of passwords, and it requires you to do a Microsoft account and all sorts of other weird janky stuff you probably don't want to do. So again, if you want to check out Linux Mint, have a look at their website, linuxmint.com. Click on the installation instructions here. You can scan this QR code with your phone to get a list of this. Very easy, so you can walk through the steps. Just kind of starts with downloading your image here. You choose the right edition of the image. There's Cinnamon, Mate, XFCE. I generally recommend use Cinnamon for most people there. So you can go ahead and download the distribution over here. Then you just need to walk through the rest of that setup guide, and it will get you a system that for the average user, this is going to be what you need. You can check your email. You can get online. The only thing we haven't been able to resolve with it yet, you can't seem to watch Peacock yet. Every other streaming service works as well on Linux. If you need Peacock, we're having a problem with that one yet. I just don't do streaming services, so I'm not deeply motivated to figure it out. But, anyway, there's always that. But all that being said, the average user who is just looking for a home use computer to do all the things you need to do, Linux is going to solve it for most of you. So I encourage you to have a look at that. So there is our video for today. Let me know your thoughts about all this fun stuff down below. Do you love AI? Do you want it in every corner of your operating system? Are you sitting somewhere in the middle? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.